In their first year after 20 videos, they had already created about $250,000 to $275,000 in gross commissions from the YouTube channel. And I was thrilled for them. Right in 2026, I bet you they're going to be in that 750,000 range because they really got the bug. They got a good combo between Leah on camera, John on the back end with all the strategy, and then putting this content together. They're going to explode this year. Today, I'm going to do a deep dive in YouTube channel and YouTube content. And one of the famous YouTubers in the Keller Williams ecosystem was a guy by the name of Ken Pozek. And I was listening to some random podcasts with Ken. I'd coached Ken actually in his transition from Michigan to Florida. And then the video title said 1 lead a day from YouTube. I was like, what's that? And so I ended up watching the video. Ken talked about how he was generating new clients from YouTube. That caught my attention. I'd always been into content marketing, and video marketing was part of the equation, being a Tom Ferry coach for 10, 15 years. And so to hear Ken say, hey, I'm generating 1 lead a day really was interesting. And he went on to share what he was learning. And in essence, what he was explaining was the basic foundation of YouTube SEO. And I'm not familiar with this term. This is the new term that you must understand deeply. YouTube SEO. And what that means is most people didn't realize that YouTube is the second largest search engine. So when people go to Google and they type in, what's it like living in Florida? What are some of the best new construction communities in Orlando? They would search these terms into Google, and then Google would return a bunch of different websites. And ultimately what started happening was Google would actually start returning different videos onto the homepage. And if you search something right now for your marketplace, which I want you to do, one of the classic ways to do this is what's it like living in, and then just put city name, county name, neighborhood name that you're committed to. And what's it like living in, or pros and cons of living in, and then name. And the second most important keyword is what to know before moving to, city name. What to know before moving to, city name. And as most of you guys, you can recognize pretty quickly, that is really your perfect customer who's doing online research to learn more about our community, our neighborhoods, our cities, and then what to know before. And that those search terms would return YouTube videos if an agent created one. And so again, that is very classic SEO. That is not anything more or less. It's not fancy. So most people know that YouTube is also a great search tool. So a lot of people do a lot of how-to content on YouTube. How to do this. They want to learn more about how to get a step-by-step guide for something. So there's a lot of how-to, and there's a lot of I want to learn about. And when you get video involved, it changes the dynamics of education. A real estate agent starts to understand that and unlock that. It is extraordinary what happens. Now, in my background, prior to that 2020 moment, I had just started really studying SEO for websites. And I was studying Neil Patel way back in the day. There was a guy named Brian Dean, and Neil Patel and Brian Dean were two guys who could really teach you in layman's terms at what SEO is and how it worked. And so I already had a background in this. And so when I finally realized that this was what people could do and what Ken was doing on YouTube with video content, and he was producing lots and lots of leads and he was closing deals, I was like, WAMO, this is exciting. So fast forward from 2020, I literally started studying everything I could about YouTube SEO and really understanding what the consumer was doing, what they needed, what they wanted, and then bringing that over and creating video scripts. At that time, I was working with a Tom Ferry coach who actually was an SEO expert. He built a multi-state website with all of the cities and subdivisions and pages. He built it so well, it was generating hundreds and hundreds of leads per month. I think at the end, he had 100,000 leads in the database, and he sold the whole website and the database and cashed out. Okay. He's obviously brilliant. I remember very distinctly, he reported to me, he said, Patrick, I just heard about the first agent that created $1 million in gross commissions from YouTube SEO. And I was like, who is that? And at that time, there was a YouTube channel called Living in Portland, Oregon. And I went immediately to the channel and I clicked on the videos and I was looking at all the videos and I was reading the titles looking at the thumbnails, and then I was clicking on videos, and I was looking at most popular, and looking at what was the most popular videos, what was his latest videos. I studied the whole channel. And at that moment, I realized all he did was he just took the basic principles of SEO, meaning that what the home buyers were interested in, and what did Google know that they wanted to know? We knew that they wanted to know the pros and cons of living in a city name. We knew that they wanted to know what are the best neighborhoods to live in a city name. New construction by a brand name, or just new construction communities in a city name. Google knew that they wanted these things, and that agent unlocked and created every one of those videos that were so obvious. Once you and I, as real estate professionals, once we saw it, it was so obvious. Of course, they want to know this city versus that city, the pros and cons. Of course, they wanted to know. What are the 6 things that they need to know before moving to this particular city? They wanted the things to avoid. They wanted to know why they shouldn't move to this city. And so there was 2 terms that unlocked everything. One term was living in, and then the second term was moving to. And so I saw this common theme that it was all about living in and moving to. So today, fast forward for those of you, when you go and you look at all of these channels that have been successful on YouTube, you just see those 2 terms everywhere in the titles. And it's just all these different variations. And that's the big unlock. Okay, so I saw it immediately. Thankfully I had a background in SEO. What happens in YouTube is once you watch one video, YouTube automatically retargets you another video and another video for 30 days. And so when you show back up on YouTube, and if I was actually interested in moving to that community, and I click the video and I watch a little bit about new construction, I watch a little bit about this city versus that city, or this subdivision versus that subdivision, or what I need to know before moving to, and all of a sudden, YouTube's just retargeting me, and I just watch, and I just keep clicking. YouTube videos classically are somewhere in that range of 5 to 15 minutes. Today, we would say that it's between 7 and 15 minutes is really the sweet spot. Longer is better, shorter is not. Okay. And so what happens is the consumer now watches 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour of your content over a window of time. And when someone commits to an hour of that content, usually the trust and the respect and the lead opportunity is now earned. They're comfortable with you. They're comfortable with your speech patterns. They're comfortable with your knowledge base. And so then what I realize is that's when they reach out to you. And then WAMO, the success is unbelievable. In 2020, I wanted to keep it as a secret for a long time because I wanted to help people build theirs. Over the course of basically from 2020 to 2025, I'd helped a good buddy of mine, Randy Ora. We built a YouTube channel just for one city name, Laguna Niguel. And he got to about 20 videos. And I think it was probably within about 18 months, he generated around $275,000 in revenue. I helped my good buddy, Ryan Schramm, in San Clemente, California, one city, big city. And he really built this channel. And I think at this stage now in his 5th year of creating YouTube videos, he's now passed, I think, $1 million in commissions earned from the channel. Then I helped some great clients, Cameron and Shayna Fleming in Columbia, South Carolina, and they built a new construction channel. So for them, it was really about new construction, home tours, and they were probably up to 300,000 a year pretty consistently. It was just all new construction leads. And the market cycle adjusts and changes over time through these different market cycles of 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. Really consistently, it was just generating $250,000 to $300,000 a year in leads from new construction. Remember Ryan Schramm, coastal community, one city in Southern California. So average sales price is about $1.5 million. Randy Ora in Laguna Niguel in Southern Orange County, his average sales price is the same zone, 1.2 to 1.5. So high-end communities, it worked. And then, Cameron and Shayna Fleming in a lower end new construction, average sales price is like $250,000 to $350,000. That worked really well there. More recently, I helped John Russell and Leah Courage up in Washington. And this is a small little resort town of coastal above Seattle in Anacortes, Washington. And I was so excited about them because they were previously on Zillow leads, super successful. And then they built the team, and then they got the Zillow Flex, and then that just wasn't working for them. And so when I started coaching with them, I was like just begging them to create the YouTube channel because they were just going through these little depression cycles of leaving Zillow, super successful. Zillow Flex drove them crazy. They dropped the whole thing, not sure what to do. We started building a YouTube channel. They created really high quality content with drones and all this stuff, really well scripted. Leah is just phenomenal on camera, and John was just really good at the back end with all the processing, editing, and all the stuff. And as a combo pack, in their first year after 20 videos, they had already created about $250,000 to $275,000 in gross commissions from the YouTube channel. And I was thrilled for them. They will do this year, I think 2026. I bet you they're going to be in that 750,000 range because they really got the bug. They got a good combo between Leah on camera, John on the back end with all the strategy, and then putting this content together. They're going to explode this year. I had another great young guy. This is an interesting story, which was Josh Finnegan. Most of you guys know, Charlotte, North Carolina. He was a high expired prospector, and he would create listing tour videos, and then he would promote those. So he'd drive up the view count and use that as a presentation tool for the expired listings. And that would help him to convert the expired listings. And he would average anywhere between $350,000 a year from expired listing conversion in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I convinced him. It didn't take much convincing. He's a bright guy. We worked on creating the relocation content, the SEO content. Look, what you're doing over here is not SEO content, home tours. Over here, this is the SEO content, which is moving to Charlotte. What's it like living in, and the different neighborhoods and communities around the city of Charlotte, which is a dynamic city. He hired a videographer, and he already had the videographer from this other content. So he immediately took massive action. And that last year, in 2025, he ended the year at 450,000 in GCI. This next year, we're planning, prior to my transition from Tom Ferry coaching to Maps coaching, in his plan, he was really looking at generating about 1.3 million in GCI from his YouTube channel. Okay. I built all the different variations of the different types of channels. It helped a bunch of people with all these things. So it's really important that people understand this foundation.
If you like out on YouTube SEO and you want to learn more, go ahead and click this playlist right here. And if you want to check out some of the interviews of some of the people that I've worked with to have been successful, go ahead and click a video right here.